welcome back to the Enthusiast-Many. So this here's another update on my air conditioning system. So it's cooling right now, so the air coming in, the air coming out is cooler than the air coming in. And there's cold water flowing through this coil, and it's on cool, so it's switched on. The cool is switched on, and the cooling tower outside is running. And it's cooling the water, it's making the water nice and cold. And the cold water is coming through here, through this coil. And yep. And so today I'm going to show you all how this actually works. So this is a diagram of how my system works. Now this system is kind of inefficient compared to other systems that would use this principle, because the pump would be set up better, and there would be a better airflow system too. But yeah, this is like the best I could make. Like this is a diagram made exactly like the way I made the unit. So this here is the indoor coil. So that's the indoor coil in the diagram, and that's the same. That's this. This is the indoor coil here, and the cold water is flowing into it, and then the warm water is flowing out. So the cold water flows in there, and the warm water comes out the bottom, and then it goes outside, and then it goes through into the cooling tower. Now, the thing is, the radiator coil, that's meant to pre-cool the water using the cool air that comes out of the cooling tower, because the air that comes out of the cooling tower is cool. That radiator is all clogged up, so it doesn't work. There's no, it doesn't allow water to go through it because it's all clogged up with, junk and stuff. So I end up bypassing the radiator completely, and the water just goes straight into the cooling tower. So it doesn't go through the radiator, so nothing goes through that radiator part outside anymore. It's like in real life, it's a yellow coil. It's a yellow coil with the fan underneath it. That's a diagram of the fan. And so in real life, the water just goes straight into the tower in my unit, because that's what I have it for now until I can get a better radiator. So the water just goes straight into the tower, because I'm not going to bother trying to unclog it. The water just goes straight into the tower, bypasses the radiator completely, and it goes straight down to the pad. And there's electronics box, the vent on top to keep it cool, and then there's fans, and there's two very high power fans in the cooling tower. There's 3 fans total, but there's 2 high power ones, so those high power fans, they suck in air from the outside. This whole cooling tower's outside, so they suck in hot outside air, and they blow it over the pad. And because of evaporation, even though the air passing over the pad is kind of hot because it's from the outside, the water gets cold. So the warm water returning gets cooled down by evaporation, and the cold water, and the water cools down as it drips down the pad, as it flows down the pad, and then the cool water settles in the reservoir here, and then the pump takes it up. Now, in the efficient version, the pump would actually push and shoot the water over the pad. But since I don't have an inline pump, I have a submersible pump or something like that. The one that you submerge underwater. Yeah, submergible, something like that. That pump is a submerged underwater, because it's not an inline pump. So I had to put it in the whole water itself, and it sucks up the cool water from the reservoir, and the pump motor adds heat to the water. So the water that comes out of the pump is a little bit warmer now, so that has to be cooled down. So what I do is I put another coil underneath the pad, and the water that drips down the pad evaporates, and the water is coldest at the pad, because even when the water settles in the reservoir, it starts to gain in heat from the surrounding area, because it's hot outside. So the pad is like where the water is coldest, like the bottom of the pad. So that warm water goes through the coil and exchanges heat with the water at the bottom of the pad, and that water gets chilled, pretty cold, and that cold water comes back out, and then it flows into the indoor coil, and then it picks up heat from the air inside while cooling the air, and then it returns back outside, and then it bypasses the radiator, because that's what it does in real life. In the efficient version, it would go through the radiator, but my radiator is not that efficient, so yeah, because it's just a yellow coil. I need like a finned coil. And then so the water just bypasses the radiator, it goes into the tower, and sprays over the pad. Now, yeah, in the efficient version, the pump would be in line and would shoot the water over the pad. And but this is actually okay. So it just shoots the water is shot over the pad by the pressure in the lines, and the water just flows down the pad and into the reservoir. And so the cycle repeats and repeats as long as the unit is running on cool. So I'm gonna go out. So the air coming out here is cool right now. So I'm gonna go outside and show you all show the outside unit again. This here's my outdoor unit. This here's the cooling tower. So the warm water return is right here. This is the warm water return. That's the warm water. It's kind of warm. Well, it's not that warm. It's still kind of cool, but it's not exactly that warm right now. But it's returning here, and then it goes into here, and then there's the pad. The pad is in there. There's a pad in there. I don't know if y'all can see that, but there is a pad in there. And as you can hear it. And I think I could barely pick it up on the camera, but the water is dripping down that pad. It's flowing down that pad because the warm water is coming back here this way, and the cold water is coming out right here because the cold water that was cooled by evaporation, and the cool water comes up this way and it goes into inside the house, and it goes into the coil, and the coil is up there, the one I was showing you earlier. It's up there behind that fan. Well, it's actually in front of that fan, but from this perspective, it looks behind. So, and here's the radiator. This is the radiator that's all clogged up. So the fluid is completely bypassed. As you can see, the warm water is completely bypassing the radiator. Because if it did go through the radiator, I would have the tubing go through here, and then it would go in like right around there. But it doesn't. But the fan there is spinning. It still runs. The air coming out is slightly cool, but it's a little bit warm because these things get hot here, and the cool air is meant to keep these things cool here. The cardboard and plastic, yeah. And this is a bit hot because the sun, and you got the cooling vent here, so there's some air being sucked down here. And the two powerful fans I had in my diagram are like right about here behind this cardboard panel here. There's two very powerful computer fans, and they suck a lot of air up through here, and it moves through here, and then it goes down. The fans are like right here, so it sucks the air like this, and then shoots it down into the bin. And there they are. So that's what the fans look like. And so some air gets sucked down here. When the unit is not running, the hot air just rises out of here, the air that's heated by the sun. But when the unit is running, some of the air is sucked down here, although most of the air is sucked in through here. Most of the air gets pulled in through right here. But since there's a little hole down there, some of the pressure, so some of the negative pressure will cause air to be sucked in through here. And yeah. So the air goes through that cooling tower, and it goes across the pad, and some of the water evaporates, and the rest of it is chilled. And then the air exits here. And the pump is right underneath this fan. It's sitting in the water because it's a submersible pump. So yeah, and it's protected by plastic so it doesn't get wet in the rain. Yeah, this fan here is pretty big. It's a really big fan. It's like it's humongous. Yeah, the radiator itself is pretty big, but it's inefficient too. The two high power. Now this fan is big, but it's it doesn't push that much air. It does push quite a bit of air, but not as much as these two other fans down here. The two fans are inside here. Those are small fans. They're not tiny. They're actually pretty big too. They're not as big as this one. They're kind of smaller in comparison to this one, but they are pretty big. They are very powerful, the two of them. So I'm back inside now, and so yep, still running the unit. Air coming out is nice and cool. Nice and cool air coming out. The coil these coils are a bit cold, yeah. And so yeah. Yeah, the unit overall works well. It's good at maintaining temperature, maintaining cool temperature. And so yeah. So thanks for watching, everybody, and bye.